Beloved friends, today I stand before you with a title that sounds mysterious, even shocking. You'll be surprised, cut an onion and send the evil back to your enemies. At first hearing, it may sound like superstition. It may sound like revenge. It may even sound like darkness. But stay with me, because what I am about to share is not about harming others, it is about freeing yourself. The onion is a powerful symbol. When you cut an onion, what happens? Your eyes water. You cry. Layers are exposed, something hidden inside is revealed. The onion teaches us that pain often brings release. Tears are not weakness, they are cleansing. And sometimes the evil we think is coming from our enemies is actually the poison we are holding inside. Every one of us has faced envy, betrayal, gossip, injustice. Some of you have enemies who smile in your face but curse you behind closed doors. Some of you have felt attacked spiritually, emotionally, or mentally. And what do we often do? We hold it and we replay the words. We rehearse the arguments in our minds. We let anger sit in our hearts like a slow-burning fire. But listen carefully, when you hold on to bitterness, you are the one being burned. So what does it mean to cut an onion and send the evil back? It means this: confront what hurts you. Face it. Let it bring tears if it must. Acknowledge the pain instead of pretending you are strong. Because healing begins when the layers are cut open. Each layer of the onion represents something: anger, resentment, fear, pride, wounded ego. As you peel each layer, you are saying, I refuse to carry this anymore. When you cut it, you allow yourself to release what has been trapped inside. And those tears, they are washing away the negativity that tried to settle in your spirit. Sending the evil back does not mean cursing your enemies. Does not mean plotting revenge. It means refusing to absorb what was never yours. If someone throws hatred at you, you do not have to keep it. If someone speaks evil against you, you do not have to let it define you. You simply return it not with rage, but with detachment. Imagine someone handing you a burning coal. If you grab it tightly, your hand burns. But if you refuse to hold it, it falls away. That is what this practice represents. The onion becomes a physical reminder: I will not hold this fire. Some people believe rituals have power. And they do, but not because of magic. They have power because they focus the mind and strengthen intention. When you intentionally declare, any negativity sent toward me will not stay with me, you are drawing a boundary around your spirit. You are saying, I choose peace. You are saying, I choose protection. You are saying, what is not from love cannot remain with me. And here is the surprising truth: when you stop fighting your enemies internally, they lose power over you. When you stop feeding their negativity with your attention, it weakens. Your calm becomes your shield. There is also a deeper lesson. Sometimes the enemy is not outside. Sometimes it is inside: doubt, insecurity, jealousy. The onion teaches us to look within. Before sending evil back, ask yourself, is there any darkness in me that needs to be removed? Because true victory is not defeating another person, it is mastering your own heart. If you must perform a symbolic act, do it with the right spirit. As you cut the onion, say in your heart, any evil meant for me is returned to the universe.
I release it.
I do not accept it. And then pray for strength, wisdom, and protection. Pray not for your enemies to suffer, but for justice and clarity to prevail. Because in the end, light always overcomes darkness, not by attacking it, but by shining. You'll be surprised how powerful it feels when you let go. You'll be surprised how peaceful your sleep becomes. You'll be surprised how much lighter your heart feels when you refuse to carry what was never yours. So cut the onion not as an act of revenge, but as an act of release. Let the tears fall. Let the layers open, let the poison leave, and walk forward free. The onion represents emotional layers. Cutting an onion symbolizes exposing and releasing hidden pain, anger, resentment, and negativity. Just like an onion has layers, our emotional wounds also have layers that must be confronted to heal. When we speak about the onion representing emotional layers, we are speaking about the hidden structure of the human heart. On the outside, an onion looks simple, whole, even smooth. But once you begin to peel it, you realize it is made of many thin layers wrapped tightly around one another. In the same way, every person carries layers within them: experiences, memories, disappointments, betrayals, fears, silent wounds. Most of the time we show the world only the outer layer. We present strength, confidence, and control. Yet beneath that surface are emotions we have never fully faced. The first layer might be anger. Someone hurt you, someone lied about you, someone tried to block your progress. Anger forms as a protective shell. It makes you feel powerful, but in truth it hides pain. If you stop at this layer, you may live your life reacting to everything with frustration. But when you peel deeper, you may find sadness underneath. The anger was only guarding the wound. The next layer may be disappointment. Perhaps you expected loyalty and received betrayal. Perhaps you expected support and received silence. That disappointment sits quietly in the heart. You may not talk about it, but it influences how you trust others. Peel deeper still and you may discover fear of being hurt again, fear of opening up, fear of looking weak. Like the onion, these layers are tightly wrapped. And just as peeling an onion requires effort, facing your inner emotions requires courage. Many people avoid this work because it is uncomfortable. It can make you cry. It can make you feel exposed. But avoiding the layers does not remove them, it only keeps them hidden. The onion teaches us that growth requires exposure. When you cut into it, its strong scent fills the air. You cannot ignore it. In the same way, when you begin to confront your emotional layers, feelings will surface. Memories will return. Tears may fall, but those tears are not a sign of failure, they are a sign of release. They are proof that something locked inside is finally being allowed to breathe. Each layer you peel brings you closer to the core. And the core is your true self, the part of you that is not defined by enemies, not shaped by gossip, not controlled by past pain. The core is calm. The core is strong, but you cannot reach it without removing what has been covering it. Often we blame our enemies for our suffering. We say they are the reason we feel stressed, angry, or restless. Yet many times it is not their actions that continue hurting us, it is the unprocessed layers inside us. If someone insults you once, that is their action. But if you replay it in your mind 100 times, that becomes your layer. The onion reminds us to examine what we are holding on to. Healing these layers is an act of responsibility. It means saying, I will not let hidden emotions control my behavior. It means choosing awareness over reaction. When you become aware of your layers, you stop being a prisoner of them. You begin to understand why certain words trigger you, why certain situations disturb you. Awareness weakens the grip of old wounds. The surprising truth is that once you peel enough layers, you discover something beautiful. You are lighter. You are clearer. You are less reactive. What once felt like a deep attack now feels like a passing breeze. Why? Because the layers that made you sensitive to it have been removed. The onion does not lose its value when peeled, it reveals its essence. In the same way, you do not lose your strength when you confront your emotions, you discover it. Every layer faced is a step toward freedom. Every tear shed is a cleansing. Every hidden emotion acknowledges a burden lifted. So when you think of the onion as a symbol, remember this: it is not about the vegetable itself. It is about the courage to look within. It is about understanding that your heart, like the onion, has layers, and that true peace comes when you are brave enough to peel them back, one by one, until only clarity remains. Tears are a sign of cleansing, not weakness. When you cut an onion and cry, it reflects emotional release. Tears symbolize purification, letting go of bitterness and internal pain instead of suppressing it. When we talk about tears being a sign of cleansing and not weakness, we are speaking about a truth that many people overlook in life. Society often teaches us that crying is a sign of fragility, that showing emotion is a vulnerability to be hidden. From a young age, we are told to be strong, to keep it inside, or to brush it off. And so we learn to suppress our tears, believing that holding them back is a form of strength. But in reality, the opposite is true. Tears are not a sign of weakness, they are the language of the soul. They are a natural response to stress, grief, anger, or even joy, and they are one of the body's most powerful tools for emotional cleansing. When you cry, you are allowing yourself to release energy that has been stored inside, energy that, if left unexpressed, can fester into resentment, bitterness, or even physical tension. The act of crying, much like cutting an onion, brings what is hidden to the surface. Onions make our eyes water, and this is a simple reminder that exposure can be healing. When we face our emotions honestly, when we allow ourselves to grieve or feel hurt, we open the door to release. Tears are not just water and salt, they are carriers of emotion. They carry pain out of the body, leaving space for clarity and calm. Every tear shed is a signal to yourself that you are alive, that you are processing, and that you are moving forward. Many people fear tears because they associate them with being overwhelmed. They fear that once they start, they will never stop, or that others will judge them for letting go. But crying does not make you weaker, it makes you human. It is an acknowledgement that life, with all its trials and challenges, touches you deeply. It is a reminder that you are capable of feeling and that your heart is capable of healing. Suppressing tears does not protect you, it keeps the pain bottled up, creating layers that weigh you down. The longer we hold on to hurt, the heavier it becomes. Tears are the natural valve that releases that pressure. Cleansing through tears is also spiritual in its nature. In many traditions, crying is viewed as a purification of the mind and heart. It washes away resentment, fear, and negativity. Imagine for a moment that your emotions are like a river. When blocked, the river stagnates, becoming polluted and harmful. When allowed to flow, it refreshes the land, nourishes life, and clears away debris. Tears are the river of the soul, clearing the pathways that allow your spirit to breathe freely. In addition, crying teaches acceptance. It teaches us to stop resisting what we feel and to acknowledge reality without judgment. Often, people resist emotions because they are uncomfortable or because they seem inconvenient. But emotions are neither good nor bad, they simply are. When you cry, you accept that this is how you feel in this moment, and that acceptance itself is a form of liberation. By allowing your tears to flow, you are releasing control in a healthy way, instead of letting negativity take root in your heart. Finally, tears prepare you for action, clarity, and strength. Once the tears have washed through, the mind becomes sharper, the heart lighter, and the spirit stronger. You are able to respond to life with wisdom rather than reaction. The process of crying allows you to reset emotionally, to reclaim your energy, and to protect yourself from being weighed down by what others may send your way. It is a gentle yet powerful reminder that you do not have to carry everything alone, that release is part of resilience, and that strength often looks like vulnerability. So in truth, tears are not a weakness to hide or to be ashamed of. They are the cleansing waters of the soul. They remind us that healing is possible, that the heart can recover, and that releasing what burdens us opens the path to peace. When you allow yourself to cry, you are not surrendering, you are strengthening, you are purifying, and you are preparing to move forward with a lighter, freer heart. Do not absorb negativity from enemies. Sending evil back means refusing to accept hatred, gossip, jealousy, or harmful intentions from others. You don't carry what doesn't belong to you. When we speak about not absorbing negativity from our enemies, we are touching upon one of the most important principles of emotional and spiritual strength. Life is full of people who may wish us harm, intentionally or unintentionally. There are those who criticize, deceive, betray, or speak ill behind our backs. There are those whose words and actions seem designed to provoke anger, resentment, or fear within us. And yet, what truly determines the impact of their negativity is not their power over us, but our response to it. Many people make the mistake of thinking that the harm comes from the other person, but in reality, the harm only lodges in our own hearts if we allow it. When someone sends negativity your way, you have a choice to absorb it or to let it pass. Absorbing negativity often begins subtly. A harsh word, a subtle insult, a slight that seems minor at first can take root in the mind. We replay it over and over, analyzing every detail, imagining the worst-case scenario and allowing it to fester. The more we dwell on it, the more control it gains over our thoughts and emotions. Slowly, we become prisoners to another person's energy. We may start losing sleep, feeling anxious, or responding in anger. We carry their negativity as though it were our own, and in doing so, we give away our power. The key is to recognize that negativity is like a foreign substance. It does not belong to you. Just as a river can carry away debris if it is allowed to flow, we can let the negative energy pass through us without absorbing it. When someone tries to harm you emotionally or spiritually, the most effective response is not retaliation, but detachment. This does not mean ignoring justice or acting as if the harm doesn't matter. It means refusing to take it inside, to make it a part of your inner world. By doing so, you protect your energy, your mind, and your heart from being weighed down by forces outside your control. Symbolically, when we talk about sending evil back to our enemies, it is not about cursing or revenge. It is about refusing to be affected by what was never yours to hold. Imagine standing in a storm with your hands open. If you try to catch every drop of rain, you will be soaked and weighed down. But if you let it fall around you and pass through, you remain dry and free. The same principle applies to harmful words, jealousy, or ill intentions directed at you. By refusing to internalize these forces, you maintain your peace. You create a boundary between yourself and the negativity, and that boundary is where your strength resides. Practicing this detachment also requires self-awareness. It requires asking yourself, is this negativity mine to carry? Often it is tempting to react immediately, to argue, to defend, or to seek revenge. But such reactions only feed the cycle. By stepping back, observing, and acknowledging that the negative energy is external, you reclaim control. You are no longer the receiver of someone else's poison, you are the master of your own mind. Furthermore, when you stop absorbing negativity, you begin to see the world with clarity. You are no longer clouded by anger, resentment, or fear. Decisions become easier, relationships clearer, and your path forward more certain. You begin to radiate calmness and confidence, which in turn disarms the energy of those who wish you harm. Often, people who try to hurt others are confused when their efforts fail because the target is unaffected. When negativity bounces off you, it returns to its source like a mirror reflecting what it holds. The practice of refusing to absorb negativity also nurtures forgiveness, not as a favor to others, but as a gift to yourself. You forgive not because they deserve it, but because you refuse to carry the burden of their malice. True liberation comes from internal freedom, from not allowing the actions of others to disturb your peace. In essence, not absorbing negativity from enemies is an act of empowerment. It is a choice to protect your heart, maintain clarity, and keep your energy free. It is a conscious decision to reclaim what belongs to you, your peace, your joy, and your strength, while letting go of what never belonged to you in the first place. By doing this, you create an inner sanctuary where evil cannot reside, and where your spirit remains unshaken no matter what storms come your way. True power is inner mastery, not revenge. The message is not about harming enemies, but about controlling your own heart. Real victory comes from peace, detachment, and emotional strength. When we speak of true power being inner mastery and not revenge, we are touching on a lesson that few truly understand. It is a lesson that has been taught across cultures and throughout history, yet remains difficult for the human heart to fully embrace. Many people believe that strength is demonstrated through dominance, through retaliating against those who wrong us, through ensuring that anyone who dares to harm us feels the consequences. This belief is common because it is immediate and tangible. If someone insults us, we want to insult back. If someone betrays us, we want them to feel our anger or disappointment. But this kind of reaction is temporary. It may feel satisfying in the moment, but it does not create lasting strength or inner peace. True power is quiet, subtle, and enduring, and it comes not from the defeat of others, but from mastery over oneself. Inner mastery begins with understanding your own mind. When you can observe your thoughts without immediately reacting, when you can feel anger or hurt without letting it control your actions, you are stepping into true strength. This mastery requires awareness. You must know what triggers you, understand the patterns of your emotions, and recognize that the external world cannot dictate your inner state unless you allow it. Mastery is not about suppressing feelings, it is about managing them. It is about turning the energy that could fuel hatred or revenge into calm, clarity, and strategic action. Revenge, by contrast, is an external display of strength that feeds the ego. It focuses on the other person, on proving that they are wrong or that we are right. It ties your peace to their actions. If they do not feel the punishment you believe they deserve, you may feel incomplete or frustrated. Inner mastery, however, does not depend on external validation. When you master yourself, your peace and confidence are independent of what others do. You no longer need to fight battles for approval or recognition because your power comes from within. Another aspect of inner mastery is emotional detachment. This does not mean indifference or lack of compassion. It means understanding that the negative energy directed at you is not yours to own. By detaching from the need to retaliate, you preserve your energy and protect your spirit. You rise above the situation, seeing it for what it truly is, a reflection of someone else's limitations, insecurities, or mistakes. When you act from this place of detachment, your responses are measured, intelligent, and effective. They are guided by wisdom rather than emotion, and they create outcomes that are more enduring than the fleeting satisfaction of revenge. Inner mastery also cultivates resilience. Life will always present challenges, conflicts, and moments of injustice. People will speak poorly of you, act against you, or try to undermine your efforts. If your sense of power depends on defeating them, every challenge becomes a threat. But if your strength comes from within, from your ability to maintain calm and clarity despite adversity, then you are unshakable. You develop a steadiness that cannot be disturbed by the whims or actions of others. Moreover, mastering oneself allows one to influence the world more profoundly than revenge ever could. A person who acts out of anger may win a small battle, but a person who acts from inner mastery creates lasting change. Others are inspired not by fear, but by the calm strength that radiates from someone who is unshaken by conflict. True power uplifts, protects, and commands respect without demanding it. Ultimately, inner mastery is about reclaiming control over your life. Revenge hands control to someone else, it ties your emotional state to their actions. Mastery returns that control to you. It allows you to act intentionally, to respond with clarity, and to protect your peace. By cultivating inner mastery, you transform challenges into opportunities for growth, conflict into lessons, and negativity into strength. This is a power that cannot be taken, diminished, or exhausted. It is quiet, enduring, and infinitely more effective than the fleeting satisfaction of revenge, because it is rooted not in the world outside, but in the invincible realm within yourself. True power, therefore, is the ability to remain unmoved by the storms around you, to respond with wisdom rather than anger, and to live free from the chains of resentment. It is the art of mastering the mind, strengthening the spirit, and walking through life with calm, unshakable confidence no matter what others do. This is the power that endures, and it is the power that transforms lives. Release brings freedom and protection. When you consciously let go of negativity, you regain peace, clarity, and spiritual strength. Your calm becomes your shield, and your light overcomes darkness. When we speak of release bringing freedom and protection, we are speaking of one of the most transformative principles in life. Many people carry burdens that were never meant to belong to them: anger, resentment, jealousy, fear, or the bitterness created by the actions of others. These burdens weigh heavily on the mind, cloud judgment, and drain energy. They act like invisible chains, binding the spirit and preventing it from moving freely. Yet most people do not realize that the act of consciously releasing these negative energies is not only liberating, but also a powerful form of protection. Freedom and protection in this context are deeply interconnected. When you let go of what is not yours to hold, you create space for clarity, peace, and resilience, and you shield yourself from further harm. The process of release begins with awareness. You must first identify what you are holding inside: the grudges, the fears, the negative feelings, and the energy that others may have sent your way. This requires honesty with yourself. It requires acknowledging that these feelings exist even if you wish they did not. By naming and facing them, you gain control over them. Denying or suppressing these emotions does not remove them, it only allows them to fester quietly in the subconscious. True release requires that you look directly at the source of your discomfort, understand its origin, and then make a conscious decision to let it go. Once you choose to release, you begin to reclaim your energy. Holding on to negativity is like carrying a heavy backpack filled with stones. Each grudge, insult, or harmful intention from someone else is a stone added to your load. You may have been carrying this burden for years, often without realizing its weight. By consciously releasing it, you lighten your load. You no longer expend energy replaying past events, imagining future retaliation, or worrying about how someone else's actions will affect you. This creates not only freedom but also clarity. You can now think, act, and live from a place of calm rather than reaction. The act of releasing negativity also acts as protection. When you let go of the anger and resentment directed at you, it cannot take root in your spirit. In essence, by refusing to carry what was never yours, you prevent it from affecting your health, your decisions, and your relationships. Negativity thrives in the soil of attachment. If you hold on to it, it grows, influencing your mood, your behavior, and your interactions. If you release it, it falls away like leaves from a tree, leaving you unburdened and resilient. This is why release is not passive, it is an active form of self-preservation. Furthermore, release allows your life to attract positive energy. When your heart is free from anger, jealousy, or fear, it naturally opens to love, joy, creativity, and abundance. Negative energy blocks opportunities and clouds perception. By clearing it out, you make room for blessings, for solutions to challenges, and for harmonious relationships. Freedom of spirit, therefore, is not only protective but also generative. It allows your life to flow in alignment with your higher purpose. Release also strengthens the mind and spirit against future attacks. When you have practiced letting go, negativity from others no longer has the same power over you. Their words, actions, and intentions may still exist, but they no longer penetrate your inner peace. In this way, release becomes a shield. Your mind becomes a safe space, guarded not by walls of defensiveness or aggression, but by clarity, wisdom, and calm. This protection is far stronger than any form of retaliation because it cannot be weakened by the actions of others. Finally, release is a gift to yourself. It is a declaration that your peace is more important than holding on to the past. It is an act of self-love and self-respect. By letting go, you are no longer entangled in cycles of negativity. You reclaim your time, your energy, and your focus. You create a life where your choices are guided by wisdom and purpose, not by reaction or resentment. This freedom and protection are inseparable. They reinforce one another, creating a state of being where the heart is light, the mind is clear, and the spirit is unshakable. In the end, release is not a single act, but a practice, a way of living that prioritizes clarity, peace, and inner strength. When you learn to release what does not belong to you, you experience true freedom and protection. You are no longer a vessel for the negativity of others. You are a strong, centered, and radiant being capable of moving through life with confidence, calm, and unshakable resilience. This is the power of letting go, the power to free yourself, to protect your spirit, and to create a life of balance, peace, and enduring strength.